and I'm ready to talk about it. There's a box on my shelf, and it's labeled unknown. And this is how I dealt with this particular topic for years, is I put it mentally and physically in a box on the shelf, and I marked it unknown. And I'm going to take that box down, and I'm going to re-examine it. Hi, how's it going? Something very strange happened to me today. And it happened to be a strange occurrence about very strange occurrences that have happened all my life that I have chosen not to speak about because I got, I guess you could say, ostracized for speaking out and going public with it. 30 years ago, I was involved with a group of people who have had experiences, or they call them alien abductions, or I call them communicating with non-human entities, which is kind of fun to say. Here's the thing, because I sort of have a background in sort of comedy and music, things like that, I think people have discounted what I say and what I believe to a point, because, you know, maybe I have weird sense of humor, or that my art is weird. You know, a lot of the things that the videos I create are kind of strange, and that's because, you know, it's kind of how my brain works, you know. And that's the other thing. Oh, you're having these experiences because you have some kind of mental health situation. Well, as a matter of fact, I do. But the mental health situation that would cause such an extreme experience probably would, make me unable to even communicate. It would be that type of mental health issue, mental illness, that you would have some sort of breakdown with reality. And I know, sometimes I stand on that line between reality and I just kind of look down, but I am able to function, as a human being in society, and sometimes I have my questions and doubts, but I do. So this morning I was on my way back from a job, doing the onboarding, which is the expression I love when you take a new job. It's like onboarding, so there's a lot of paperwork and whatever. So I was coming back from that, and I had the radio on. It was NPR On Point with Megna. I'm sorry. Megna. I just call her Megna. I'm sorry. It's a difficult name for me because my name is Chris Clark, and that's pretty easy. So anyway, Megna was on there with somebody talking about alien abductions, and I said, I'll tune in and say, and then all of a sudden, boom! I hear my voice come through the speakers. Now, again, this is kind of like the paranoid delusions that people have accused me of having. But no, this was me. I did an interview about 30 years ago I did a bunch of interviews. I was on 48 Hours. I was on National Geographic. They had a discussion about that. Nova, I had basically Carl Sagan telling me I'm just delusional. Billions and billions of delusional people in the world, and you're just one of them. And it turns out, well, maybe he's half right. But anyway, he's gone, so I can't argue with him at this point. But 30 years ago, I was a member of John Mack's group, and it was very helpful for me to get together with a bunch of people from different backgrounds who had the same fucking experience, And I didn't these people, some of them were lawyers and doctors, and here I am, I'm a musician with, improv comedy ideas and things like that. So I was definitely not in their sort of, peer group in terms of that. But we did share a common experience, and that was this experience. So that was very strange for me, and I've kind of put this away, and I made a YouTube video, probably a couple years ago, that I stopped in the middle of, because I'm like, I don't want to tell people this, I don't want this to get out there. It's very difficult, and I think now with more acceptance of the possibility that these things are going on, it's easier. But at the same time, people say, well, why you? And that's basically what Carl Sagan said 30 years ago. Why is it these people and not me? That's basically the takeaway that I had from his, talk was, why is it just like regular people? Why isn't it the scientists and everyone else in the world? That's a bad Carl Sagan imitation. But anyway, because it just is, all right? And it might be an intergenerational thing. I think my mother had problems, and that's one of the reasons why she basically drank herself to death, is because who do you talk to about this stuff in the 70s and 60s and 50s? Nobody. And so I feel like this is something I want to talk about now. So anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of what I heard today, and it's the fucking strangest thing, other than being abducted by aliens, which by the way, is very, very strange, to hear your voice and go, that guy sounds familiar, his cadence is the same as mine, oh my fucking God, it's me.
Yes.
And I'm going to elaborate on that in a second, but I just want to play a moment from an episode of 60 Minutes in Australia, because you'll hear that sincere belief in the voices of two people who talk about their experiences, or what they believe to be their experiences, with aliens visiting them.
They do seem to be able to walk through walls and materialize. I thought for a while they were ghosts when I was younger, but these beings materialize into a physical form, so it's hard to say. They might be from another dimension, so to speak, or anything like that.
So, Garrett, here's the connection I see. In fact, to me, it's more plausible that one day some of these folks who say they've been visited by aliens might be presented with evidence to the contrary, and maybe they'll change their minds. But of course, the people who rioted in Congress on January 6th, no amount of evidence, court cases, the testimony of state election.
So, yeah, I have had a day to think about that NPR On Point episode, and I have to say that it's probably just the shock of, has worn off a little bit. But what does what happened to me have anything to do with January 6th? See, this is the false equivalency argument that she's trying to make, to tie everything up, to make it a program that people are going to tune into. So the delusions that I have, the delusions about alien abduction, are the same kind of delusions that these assholes who stormed the Capitol on January 6th have, in that they don't accept the fact that reality is that Trump lost. Well, I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but I'm not a January 6th fan, okay? I am disgusted by what happened, and I am very anti-Trump. So to make a parallel between these two things really kind of pisses me off, to be honest with you, especially if you know me and you know that how I feel about Trump and his cult. So this is what I'm still facing, and this is why it's taken me this long to really come out and talk to people about this phenomena. If you'd like to have a discussion about it, I would love to talk to people about this, because this is not what people think it is, okay? And I've been through the mill in terms of psychology, psychiatrists, and things like that. Right now I'm dealing with, depression and bipolar. I've been, diagnosed as bipolar. But do bipolar people have these type of delusions? And if so, wouldn't that be, indication of something more serious, like some kind of a tumor or something in their brain? I don't have any of that. I'm not, I'm a human being. I can have conversations with people. I might be on the spectrum, and we're going to go discuss that. But other than that, there's just no other explanation for what happened to me other than what happened to me. And, I could tell people till I'm blue in the face that this is real, and they don't believe me, and that's fine. I've learned to live with it. But today, and I've been kind of burying this and not talking about it, but today was a real trigger for me, just to hear my own voice talk about this from 30 years ago. Just kind of flipped me out. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be talking about today. If you want to talk about it, I would love to talk to anybody about this and discuss what the fuck this phenomena is, and how it I don't know. I think there's more acceptance to it, and I had hoped that it would be a little bit. There would be more answers right now, but there are no answers. So let's get into this. Oh boy. First thing on the top of the box is a letter from a mental health professional. And it's interesting because I was dealing with this situation. I had no idea what was going on. And the mental health professional wrote me a letter. I'm not going to expose her name, but I will sort of cover that up. And I'll show you this. It says, Dear Chris, April 1st, 1992. I am writing to inquire about your plans for continuing therapy. I am aware of the financial difficulty treatment possesses for you, and I'm assuming that you have not attended the last 3 sessions for this reason. I'll be here at the clinic until the beginning of June, and will be starting at the Mount Auburn Hospital Outpatient Department as of September 1st, 1992. If I can be any further assistance, please do not hesitate to call. Sincerely, that person. And then she wrote an addendum, I guess they would call that. I'm not sure. But she wrote a personal note. And on the personal note, it says addendum right there, so I guess I was right. There is a psychiatrist at Cambridge City Hospital by the name of John Mack. He specializes in working with people who experience the kind of dreams phenomenon that you describe. You might want to call and find out if there is a way you can be seen by him and or participate in one of his groups. They most likely have a sliding scale. They didn't have any scale. It was purely free. If I can help in any way, please feel free to call me. And that was my therapist over at the Boston Evening Medical Center. I started going there because I experienced some very strange things, and including getting pulled out of bed in the middle of the night by non-human things. Over the years, I've collected a lot of information about this, and appeared in a lot of publications, including this New York Times Magazine. But I have quite a lot of things here. I shared a lot on media, on TV, and it's been difficult because people just basically say, at least at the time, they were less able to understand this stuff. This is in the 90s, there's something from 93. At the time, they were very hesitant to believe any of that. This is kind of funny because I found this, at a thrift store. It's an E.T. scrapbook. Literally, this is an E.T. scrapbook. Okay, I put some silly things in here. But then it's quite, there's the strange Weekly World News. If you look at this, these are sketches that one of my roommates did of what he saw. So here we are with, hey, is this just me? Well, this is the person, the thing that one of my roommates saw. And here's some of the things that I wrote, some of the things that I'd seen, some of the little diary entries and little observations that I had. These are Group for Research and Aid to Abductees. October 12th, 1992. Cold soda will be provided. If anyone would like to bring cookies, brownies, chips, or dip, you are encouraged to do so. So it's like, your basic book club or, activity thing, but this was for real. You know, this was a scary, scary thing for me, and I'm gonna eventually be going through all this and talking about it. But it's a box. It's a box that I don't open very often. You know, obviously I've had to tell my family about some of this, and they're like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah. How much LSD did you eat in the 80s? Not as much as you'd think. And not as much as it would take to have the delusions of this than would possibly be, so...